past tutorials, we were exploring the various page types, the various page layout types that are found in ActivityMaker. We were doing that by constructing an activity called the Canadian Challenge. So the Canadian Challenge has 3 levels, and we'll go ahead and jump to level 3. So level 3 is only achieved or reached if the student answers 66% of the questions correctly in level 2. So let's go ahead and flesh out level 3. So here we go, and what we'll do is add an image. Just before we add an image, we'll just type in a quick instruction. Okay, and we'll go ahead and format this as heading 1 just to be consistent with the others. We'll bring in an image, and I think what we'll do is bring in this image of Quebec City. We won't bother putting a border around it. There we go. Now we'll add a page, and I think as a reward for achieving level 3, what we'll do is provide a video. So we'll go here to this layout type, video, and I've already selected the video, so let's take a look at that. Under Quebec City, so I did a search for Quebec City in YouTube. I'll simply copy the URL of this video and paste it in. That's all you need to do. Don't need to do an embed code, although Lutster does support an embed code. Incidentally, so this is the easiest way to bring in YouTube video. This was level 3. You can essentially use this HTML source editor to bring in an embed code. If you replace all this with an embed code, then everything would work. Now, some of you may not know what an embed code is. Some will, and essentially you can go to a variety of services like YouTube, Vimeo. You can go to other things like Prezi and so forth, and you can grab some code from those sites that can easily be pasted here in the HTML source. So it's probably a more advanced concept, and we don't need to worry about it now. As you can see, this is very, very simple. Let's add a page. Oh, by the way, in order for me to just test this page out and be able to jump to it, I'll add it to the table of contents. Later I'll remove all the table of contents. Let's add a page. And again, it remembers the previous page's layout, but we're going to change the layout. Let's change this to an interview. So this is an interview question, and essentially the founder of Canada, the first Prime Minister of Canada, John A. Macdonald, is going to ask a question, and he's going to say something like, in order to preserve the nation of Canada, what laws would you enact? And then what we're going to do is have a series. One of our responses could be enact legislation to build a national railroad. We could strengthen the ties with the United States by enacting a free trade agreement like NAFTA. And then the third could be something to the effect of pass laws to build a tariff wall. And then we could explain further so that Ontario could trade more easily with British Columbia than New York, for example. Now, this particular, according to John A. Macdonald and the Fathers of Confederation, this would have been a strong one, so this would get a 5. And then strengthen the ties with the United States by enacting a free trade agreement would have received a 0. And then pass laws to build a tariff wall. Well, that also would have achieved a 5 because essentially both this and this are part of the national policy. But you can have any kind of an interview question, and one of the responses could be very strong. The second response could be kind of weaker but not wrong, and a third response could be just flat out wrong. Each of these can be accompanied by feedback and by branching options. We'll go ahead and put in some feedback. This helped to strengthen Canada, strengthen a young Canada, and so forth. We could provide feedback for each one, but I think you get the idea. Okay, so this is the interview page, and one can construct a full decision-making scenario that's in an interview style. We could have, what we've done in this particular tutorial is giving you different page types, but of course you could create a full lesson with only flashcards or only interview pages or only videos. Just for the sake of completeness, let me add a page, and I'm going to just I'll just add a full image page just so you can see what that's like. Let's choose this. Oh, that's not big enough. Let's see if we can find a larger image. All of these are smaller images, so this is not really satisfactory. There we go. There's a larger image. And so this would follow, I think this follows more closely with the theme that I've created here with John A. Macdonald, who was the first Prime Minister. If I want to take this and perhaps move this over, make this precede the interview question, that would be fine. You can just simply drag and drop. Or you could right click and cut a page and then paste a page. Okay, so where we're at, we have created an interview, and then finally let's add one long answer. So at the very end we'll add a page and we'll change that to long answer. So again, that's another page type. And in the long answer, you could, so this would be the heading, Impressions of Canada, and this would be a prompt. What do you know about Canada? And so there's your prompt, and the student would be presented with this prompt and would respond by typing in a full answer. You can also, you could have a number of these things and then aggregate them with a journal. So the journal is just kind of a placeholder. What will happen when the flow reaches the journal? All the long answers will be put together. The student can then print off the page. So that's the journal. And I think finally what we'll do is add a report. So if we go back, you can see this one was worth a maximum of 5 points. We don't really have another. Let's just add one more question. Let's add a question after this. And we'll just use something that we've done before. We'll do a flashcard. And of course we can't forget the capital cities. So what city is shown in the photograph? And the answer is Ottawa. And this is the answer that gets evaluated. So in a flashcard, this gets evaluated, but this is what the user sees. And of course, as I said, we could have chosen the regular expression. So if I'd made this a regular expression, by placing a period, I'm saying any character any number of times. So as long as they typed in OTT, they could have typed in the Ottoman Empire, and this would have been judged as correct. And we will go ahead and give a 5-point value here. And then, so we're at the very end. Let's add one more page, and this page is going to be a report page. This is what will be displayed to the student in terms of performance score, and when the flow reaches this page, the activity will communicate to the learning management system the user's score. And if you'll recall, in each of the gates we reset the score. So for example, the gate at the end of level 2, we reset the score. So the only thing that's going to display in that final report is any scores that appear in level 3. And of course, we put in a table of contents right here. So we added level 3 to table of contents so we can quickly preview this. Let's see how this looks. Here we go. And my computer's acting a little slow. Usually it happens very fast. Level 3, there's our picture. By the way, this is at the base of the Chateau Frontenac in Quebec City. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. And here we'll reward our user with a tour of Quebec City. The first couple of images in this video are pretty... I just had to do that because if you haven't been to Quebec City, it's just a wonderful, wonderful place. And then next page, here's our image that came up with a nice fade. And finally, now, by the way, you'll notice this is cut off. This currently in the preview, things are kind of scrunched together, but that's not how students will see it. So, in order to preserve the nation of Canada, what did we need to do? Enact legislation to build a national railroad. You'll notice here that a meter pops up because in a decision-making scenario, the student not only sees feedback, so for example here we'll check the answer and get feedback, but sees their progress shown in the meter. So in this case I got full points, so the meter went all the way to the right. And then what city's shown in the photograph? Well, it really is Ottawa, and of course it's going to tell me that. And you notice the meter now gets affected by any question. Once the meter appears, it's affected by all questions. What do you know about Canada? And so that explains everything right there. And of course I could type in as much as I wanted to, and so if I became verbose, no problem, I can type as much as I'd like, and then of course I submit my answer. On the next page, what you'll see is you'll see the headings of each of the long answers, and then the student responds. The student can easily print this off or cut and copy this and place it in a Dropbox, for example. So they could copy this, paste it in Word. It'll all be formatted for them, and then they can just simply drop that into a Dropbox. If I return to this, not in the preview, but in real life, if I return to this question, as long as I'm at the same computer, my response will be restored. And then finally, here we go. We got 5 out of 10 correct. Here was the question we missed. Here was the feedback. So this particular feedback could have directed me to a reading. It could have directed me to a chapter in the text, a video, anything to help me improve my score the next time. I'll put that away, and then now that I've tested this all out, I can go back and remove my table of contents. So now that I won't see any table of contents, so I can go here, level 3, go to level 2, ensure that that's removed, and then finally go to the introduction and remove that. If I preview now, I'm basically doing what a student does. I have to answer all the questions in level 1 before I can proceed to level 2. Otherwise, if I try to blow past the questions, you'll see I get turned right back to the introduction. And that concludes our tutorial and our walkthrough of the various page types that are available in ActivityMaker. As you can see, this is a very, very powerful template, and we haven't yet scratched the surface.